Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rise. I'm back here at Moss Nissan in Newport Richey, Florida, and guess what? We have a very, very special car. This is a 2018 Nissan Sentra NISMO, and the great news is, lucky day for us, this one has the 6-speed manual transmission. But before we dive into this sport compact car, let's talk about what's going on with the Sentra. So the last year of this design of the Sentra was 2019. If you were to buy a brand new 2020 Sentra, total redesign outside and inside. The good news is the new Sentra for 2020 looks fantastic. The not so good news is that you have one engine option and there's no longer this NISMO spec trim of the Sentra. Now, if you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, Sentra NISMO, when I hear NISMO, I think of what it stands for, Nissan Motorsports. So it's gotta have lots of power, right? Not necessarily. The good news is this does have turbocharged power. The even better news is it does have more horsepower than a 2020 naturally aspirated Sentra. But the bad news is that if you look at one of the last greats of the Nissan Sentra, that SER, that one really, with that naturally aspirated engine, was the one to have. But let's go ahead, dive into this Sentra NISMO and see, really, is it a real compact performance sports sedan? Right off the bat, 2018, this is the design. NISMO, you can only get certain colors. Black being one of them. You can get it in white, you can get it in silver, you can get it in red. Now with the black, you'll notice it's really going to accentuate some of the extra visual touches that are part of that NISMO branding. Headlight design, you got your projector beam style headlight. You can see the size of the headlight design, especially compared to the newer ones, much larger. Gloss black on the interior, a little bit of chrome. As we drop down, here comes the whole NISMO unique front fascia. So this whole area down here is specific to this vehicle. You're gonna have LED fog lamps. I do like the smoke metallic gray. My zonk is no functional side air curtain. At least open that up and make it a side air curtain, but it does look very aggressive. The way that this extends out looks very sharp. You drop down, you're gonna get that nice, almost like a cranberry apple metallic red on the lower splitter that extends out. This, believe it or not, is an aerodynamic piece, and it's also the NISMO color. When we think of Nissan Motorsports, this is the official color, this cranberry metallic red color. Now, as we come across the rest of the front fascia, very aggressive. This car definitely, when you're looking at it, has that true sport intention. We'll find out if what's underneath that hood really brings it. But you'll see how you have this center area here of that front lip spoiler or splitter. It's a metallic gray. I like the way the color kind of differentiates the different portions of the lower front fascia. Nice, massive opening that is fully functional. You got your NISMO badge. See, there's that red color there, Nissan Motorsports. That's what it stands for. V-motion shaped grille. I wish they would have blacked this out or used the darker metallic color. So I am gonna zonk the chrome Nissan badge. But like I said, very wide, very aggressive for a Sentra. Now, when we get up onto the hood, you're gonna have a simple rise, goes all the way back, kind of rises further and further, and then it drops off before you hit the windshield. And then you're gonna have the other two body lines that go towards the A-pillars. Clean styling. As we come around the bend, what are we working with? Wheel and tire. Now, this is specific to the NISMO Sentra. So you're gonna have these smoke gray metallic wheels with the machine aluminum around the whole outside of the wheel. Now, when we're looking at this wheel, these are actually wrapped in those Michelin Pilot Super Sport tires. This is an 18-inch wheel, 215 on the width, 45 series sidewall. You do have ventilated rotors, which is gonna help with some braking capability. But remember, this is front wheel drive, it's not all wheel drive. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more aggressive style on the wheel. It shows it's dated. Even though it's just 2 years old, it really looks dated, especially compared to the new Sentra. Now, coming down the side, you do have some of that red trim on the mirror caps. It's just a sticker. So somebody could actually come and take your NISMO badging off real easily. Color match mirror caps, no sunroof, a little bit of chrome trim. I wish they would have blacked this out. So that's gonna be a zonk. Zonk here on the door handles, zonk around the trim. The chrome trim, it should be all blacked out, but I do like the nice aggressive side sill extension, especially the way they did it in that Nismo red color. Very nice touch. You got a high belt line coming into this corner window here, and then coming to the rear, you're gonna get a nice size trunk lid spoiler. It's got a kick up on each corner here. The chrome trim has gotta go. If this is a true sports sedan, I'm gonna rip it off. Chrome trim has gotta go. But as we drop down, they kind of mimic the same shape of the front fascia with the rear. You can see how it extends out. They kind of hid the reflector in there. You have a very, very aggressive, this almost looks like it's off a Formula One car, rear diffuser, that red Nismo color. You got your lighting down here. Now, one of the biggest zonks is that exhaust pipe. It's a nice size, it's slash cut, but we really do need to have one on each side to balance it out. You have your Nismo badge, but other than that, sporty on the bottom, sporty on the top, not so much in the middle. But why don't we pop the hood and see, is the Nismo really bringing some performance to the table? All right, guys, we got the hood pop. There is a prop rod, but you know what? It's out of the way. You have a very interesting engine cover. I've never seen this where they do like a actual louvered vent over the top of the engine. But what you're looking at underneath that unique plastic cover is gonna be the heart of any Sentra turbo back in 2018. It's a 1.6 liter inline four turbocharged engine, 188 horsepower, 177 pound-feet of torque. It's all mated. We are lucky, like I said, we got the 6-speed manual. You can get a CVT in your Sentra NISMO. The car weighs a tick over 3,000 pounds, 0 to 67.3 seconds, quarter mile 15.3 at 92.4 miles an hour. MPGs is where you're gonna be the big winner. 25 in the city, 31 on the highway. But what's crazy is that the 2012 SER Spec V Sentra with its 2.5 liter naturally aspirated inline four is actually faster than this turbocharged inline four engine, which is kind of mind-blowing and crazy. Now, I'm a little disappointed. I am gonna zonk that there's not more power. If this thing had 208 horsepower, it at least put it on par with the Civic Si that has 205 horsepower. And since it is a Nismo, it should have a little bit more horsepower. But why don't we fire this up and hear what it sounds like out of that single exhaust tip. All right, guys, we're inside this 2018 Nissan Sentra NISMO. What's fascinating is that about 2 years ago, when I came to Mas Nissan to review my first car, it was a 2018 black Nismo, Sentra NISMO. So I'm very, very curious if this is the exact car that I once reviewed. Now, I never got to drive it because it was in the showroom and there were so many cars in there at the time that they couldn't get it out. But this should be interesting, and hey, who knows, maybe this is the same car. Now, if you're wondering, well, Joe, it's 2 years later, how many miles are on this car and how much do they want for it? Well, the car has 17,309 miles and they're asking about $19,800 for it. Let's see what you get for the money. To the door panels. Now, I'm zonking the top. It's as hard as the rock that the Pilgrims landed on. What rock is that? Yes, Plymouth Rock. Hard as Plymouth Rock. That design going on there, it's trying to look like carbon fiber. It's not actually too bad. It doesn't have a shine to it, which is nice. And then you're gonna have this microfiber material, which is similar to Alcantara. It's not Alcantara, but it does give the door a nice sporty performance look to it. The armrest has the red Nismo stitching. The flat black around the switchgear looks a little rental car-ish. And then the door pocket, you're only gonna be able to get a Whopper Jr. and maybe one can of Coke there to wash it all down. Now the dash, soft material up top, not so soft down below. We get to the infotainment side of things. Let me bring up the mat. Remember, this vehicle is 2 years old. We're looking at a 5.4-inch infotainment system screen. It does have navigation, obviously very, very dated, very small. I'll go ahead and put it into reverse. There's your backup camera, no trajectory, and very, very grainy. But it is nice to have that. I'm kind of liking the metallic finish here because it really does hide the fingerprints for the most part. They actually should have just used more of the faux carbon fiber design around here. I think that would have been a little bit more cohesive in a look. Start stop button with a little bit of anodized aluminum look and feel to it. You do have dual climate control, which is nice. You work your way down, you get a tasteful Nismo badge, a 12 volt, and a place for 2 race winning Twinkies. A little bit more of that metallic black. The faux carbon fiber kind of flows in around the shifter, and this one, 6-speed manual. The throws are semi-short. Engagement feels good. I can't wait to road through this to see how it actually feels as we drive it. You have your heated seats and a little place for a single breath mint. So when you're about to pick up your date, pop in that emergency breath mint, especially if you ate a bag of Funyuns. That's my advice to you. I'm not talking from my own experience, but definitely that wouldn't taste very well, Funyun breath. Here's your small key fob, very similar to what you get on a new Nissan. It's not gonna poke you in the family jewels, which is great. It's really light. 2 cup holders, good old-fashioned e-brake, Rubbermaid on the armrest. I wish they would have gave me this microfiber material on there. Open this up, aux jack, USB, and you could put about 12 paydays in there. So that's a nice touch, especially if you like nuts. You can put the nuts in your mouth from the payday. Seats, this is my favorite part. The design looks great. Nismo badging. The bolstering is actually quite aggressive, but it's super soft, especially on the bottom portion. It really makes the drive in here really comfortable. I could already feel it as we're going down the road because they have a nice cush to them, but you can see just how far the bolstering comes up. Plenty of headroom, so if you're gonna do an autocross event or a track day, hey, surprise the heck out of everybody. Coming over here behind the business end because I wanna show you some surprises around this leather and Alcantara wrap steering wheel. Coming over. All right, guys, business time, behind the wheel. You do have manual seat controls, which is a little bit of a bummer for the driver's side, but they're easy to get to and easy to use. At least they're not those wheels that you have to turn. You got your 3 pedals, a small dead pedal though, and they didn't put any kind of rubber over here, so I could see the carpet getting ripped up. Pedals, actually heel toe, the placement's actually pretty much on point, which is great. Steering wheel, like I promised you, you have that Alcantara wrap, the baseball red stitching all the way around, that leather red stripe top dead center. It's got a great thickness to it. The horn button is very dated, but you know what, it's a 2018. Easy to use though. And then your gauges, you're gonna get a special red tack that says Nismo because Nismo means race car. And you got an analog speedometer, fuel gauge, and coolant gauge, and then a digital display in the center that you can go through a plethora of information real easy there. Overall, comfortable seating. I do like the placement of the seats. You even have a sport mode button, which you know we'll be using. Let's go ahead and check out the back seat and see if your passengers are going to enjoy you going down your favorite twisty road and carving it up like a Thanksgiving Day turkey. All right, guys, back seat time. What's nice is you got plenty of room back here, which is great, especially on the headroom. Really nice. You can see that nice microfiber material. If you're missing your kitty cat or your dog, you could pet this instead. It's really soft. Nice large pocket. Put a mirror back there. You could stare at yourself for the whole drive. And then you have a nice little shelf here for 1 Twinkie. Put it in sideways. And then maybe a Jolly Rancher or 2. But look at this, 2 USBs. We test drive cars here on Rady's Rides that are 2020s that don't have 2 USBs. So they got you covered there. I got plenty of leg room and I have my own pocket. No armrests. So hopefully there's somebody that you're able to beat up back here, maybe like a little sister or brother, and use them as an armrest because there isn't an armrest to use. You'll have to just sit here like this and just mind your business. But why don't we check out the trunk and see how much mail we could put in there, since maybe we might be hauling some mail in this Sentra NISMO. All right, guys, time to pop the trunk. There's a button right here. You lift it up. Look at that space. It's actually a pretty decent size opening for a compact car. And then those seats are gonna do the 60-40 split. And on top of that, you are looking at 15.1 cubic feet of space. That's actually class leading. It's very nice and low as well, which means you could put something a little bit taller back here. I mean, think about it. You go do a track day, you could bring a pop-up with you, some chairs, some coolers, an AC, air compressor. I think you're ready to rock and roll. But speaking of rocking and rolling, if you got the drums, I got the guitar. Let's take this Nissan Sentra NISMO for a spin. All right, guys, we're in the 2018 Nissan Sentra NISMO. Right away, I'm telling you, these seats are really, really comfortable. I want to do an acceleration test here. slow roll, on throttle, here we go. Nice shifter action, good clutch engagement. On the brakes, downshift in a second. I tell you, if you keep it in the sweet spot between 5,000 and 6,000 RPM, you're right in the peak boost revs, and it just pulls nicely all the way to that 6,500 rev line. The handling actually is surprising me. It really, really is. And I'm telling you, this shifter is not so bad. Look at this, on the brakes. Of course, you're getting, it's front wheel drive, so she's pushing as we're exiting out of the turn, but that's to be expected in a front wheel drive car 90% of the time. Brakes feel really good. Nice heel toe. Really, really smooth. All right, guys, once again, let's do a slow roll here on throttle. A little bit of traction loss. I tell you, it doesn't trip the tires. It's crazy how the front end sticks. I wish it had a limited slip diff. I could really feel the limitations of no limited slip diff, but still, it does have some sporty sense there to it. Of course, it's not perfect, but it's surprising me. Not too shabby. I mean, is it gonna outperform a Civic Si? No. Definitely not a Veloster N, forget about that, but you know what? If you want something different, you want something that's definitely fun to drive, it's got a decent sound. The infotainment system is garbage, but I mean, it's 2018, even though it was just 2 years ago. If you look at a 2018 Civic Si, it kills this infotainment system, but the steering wheel is great. Overall, quirky, kind of fun car, and I'm glad that we did this one, because I never had a chance to drive one of these. All right, guys, on throttle. There she goes in that 5,000. She starts to pull on the brakes. The chassis could use a little bit more refinement, but I'm telling you, it's not too bad. Brakes feel great, man. Look at this. Just needs a limited slip diff. Limited slip diff would help this car out big time exiting the turns. I could feel it. Overall, the interior, the seats are great. Your passengers have a ton of room back there. Plenty of trunk space as well. And I like the weight to the steering. They did a great job with the weight to the steering. All right, guys, a little bit more fun. Second gear, here we go. Back end came around just a little bit, helped me square off the turn. I'm telling you. I think one of the things I do really like about the engine is that it actually revs very freely. There's no rev hang like on a Civic Si or even a Type R, and the throttle input is pretty precise, and that is surprising to me. But overall, it's a mixed bag, and at the end of the day, hey, you want something different for less than 20 grand? Here you go, Sentra NISMO. But we're gonna wrap this one up and get back to Moss Nissan, so I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, it's been another great day here at Moss Nissan. Definitely got to thank David Jr., Christian, and the rest of the crew getting us access to this 2018 Sentra NISMO. Is it a real performance car? You know, I'm still scratching my head on it, but definitely it brings a unique driving experience and a unique visual experience overall compared to your Civic Si, your Volkswagen Golf GTI, or even a Hyundai Veloster Turbo. If you want to keep seeing cars like these though, where they're performance sedans or cars that think they're performance sedans, trying to be performance sedans, if you want to keep seeing that on Ratings Rise, leave a comment in the comment section. If you're new and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Ratings Rise family. If you want to help us keep making great content just for you on the channel, click the link in the description. Get yourself some Rady's Rise merch. Got to give it out to Crown Vic. This car really opened up his eyes to what a Sentra NISMO was. He's never seen one before. We popped his Sentra NISMO cherry. So I hope it felt good for you, Vic. I know it felt good for everybody else. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.